Welcome back to our study this week. We're looking at 1 John chapter 2, 1 through 2. Today we're looking at there is an advocate. So when you begin chapter 2, you read that John is writing so that you won't sin. Now what's the problem? Well, when we look at ourselves, we know that we sin. That's discouraging. That's uncomfortable to hear. John, we're not supposed to sin? Well, look at my life. I do sin. Does that mean all hope is lost? Well, am I still in darkness? I don't have fellowship with God? Is that what you're saying? John says if anyone does sin, we have an advocate. Notice that he says we. He's not saying that they need an advocate and he doesn't. He's not saying that he's, outside of this. He says if anyone does sin, John is included in the anyone. He needed an advocate too. I'm getting the sense of hope here. Christians, you can't sin, but when we do, there is an advocate for us. So he includes himself in that and not excluding himself, which is very important because he says, little children, I'm writing to you so you may not sin, but we have an advocate. So he's saying, I'm writing to make sure that you're not sinning, living a life of sin, but when we together sin, then we have an advocate. So the question is, what and who is this advocate? Now, the translators have used advocate here in place of the word paraclete. Paraclete has come to us from the Greek word parakletos. The word was used to describe two different but similar things. A paraclete can mean comforter or helper. In John 14:16, Jesus tells the disciples that he was going to send them the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit would be their paraclete, their comforter, and helper. The word was also used to describe an attorney or an advocate in court. If you were called into court, you would want a paraclete to stand beside you and defend your case. They would plead to the judge on your behalf. This is the use we find here in our text. When we sin as Christians, we can be encouraged because we have an advocate who stands before the judge of the universe, the Father. We do not stand alone, but we have an advocate who can plead our case. Our paraclete is with the Father, representing us. He is on our side. Take note that it doesn't mean that we're not guilty. Why do we need an advocate if we're not guilty? We are, but the joy in the sentence comes from the fact that we are not left in our sin. We have an advocate before the Holy Father. And who is this one that stands beside Christians? Jesus Christ, the righteous. We don't have any old paraclete. We don't have any just random person. We have Jesus, the righteous. Jesus, the God-man, the perfect mediator between sinful humanity and holy deity, as we're told in 1 Timothy 2:5. We have an advocate, present tense, not had an advocate, because Jesus forever lives and continually pleads for us. His blood is always speaking on our behalf. And he is a righteous advocate, not only in his deity and humanity, he's in every way completely. He's always righteous. But in the way he performs his role as our paraclete is also righteous. His case for Christians is perfect and airtight. The Father sees nothing lacking in Jesus' performance of his duties. There's no flaw in his reputation. There's no flaw in his representation of humans. The devil, who is the slanderer and accuser, may take up the role of prosecutor, but he's no match for our defense attorney, Jesus the righteous. As a Christian, you do not, and in fact cannot, plead your own case before God. The Bible never says that when we get to heaven, God will ask you why you should be let in. People use that as a evangelistic tactic, but there's no sense that that will be the case. When you stand in the heavenly court, your lawyer will speak on your behalf. Either you have Jesus the righteous beside you, or you have Satan the destroyer. They will plead your case. You belong to either one of those kingdoms. You are one of their servants who will be speaking for you on your behalf. It doesn't say you'll get to plead your own case. Judge, can I represent myself? Nope, you already have a representative. The Bible makes it clear you are represented by either Satan or Jesus. That's it. So, and you need to be on the right side before you get there. You can't change you can't change Paracletes when you get there. It's already set. So come back next time and we'll take a look at how Jesus is the propitiation for our sin.